Damn, Missy Mari got beat.
What's happening, guys? Silent Mike checking in again. Another raw workout footage, and I'm going to answer your questions from Instagram at Silent Mike. We got over 200 questions, some pretty good questions that I'm going to cover, but also plenty of questions that I have covered. So make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure you're checking out the videos, trying to drop knowledge, trying to help you guys out. I think we're just doing some paused deadlifts in the background, sets of 4, 6, something like that. What's better for raw lifters, a pause squat or a box squat? Both are good movements, both are popular movements. If I had to choose one for most raw squatters, it would be the pause squat, based on multiple things. The box squat's a great movement. It's a way to kind of work around some knee pain, sometimes even low back pain, build explosiveness, build change of direction, build up your glutes and hamstrings. But often the motor pattern built in with a proper box squat is not similar to your raw squat for the majority of lifters. The majority of raw squatters squat with a little bit more knee flexion, knees heading towards the toes, a little bit more quad dominant, as well as different bar placements and different torso angles. In the pause squat, you should be using the exact same stance and style you'll be doing in the main squat. And so in that case, specificity will rule. You'll be able to get to train yourself without momentum in the pause squat, but still replicate your squat technique and build that technique better over time. What's better, stiff leg deadlifts or Romanian deadlifts, or hip thruster? And I know there's some technical differences between a stiff leg and a Romanian. I try not to worry about the details. I think both of them are good. One, you're kind of pausing on the ground, legs a little bit straighter. One, legs are a little bit more bent, and you kind of just stretch them, pushing your hips back. The hip thrust is obviously very different. Back's on the bench, pushing your heels into the ground, kind of doing a hip extension, laying horizontal. I'm a big fan of stiff legs, again, because of the relationship to the normal deadlift. The closer you are, the more like the specific movement, if you're trying to increase your deadlift, the better it's going to be. Block pulls, pause deadlifts, stiff leg deadlifts, even bench over rows are a little bit more like the movement than something like a barbell thrust. Now, a barbell thrust has a time and place. It can help build up some glutes and some weakness. So, if you have just general strength ideas, mobility ideas, or a weak spot, that's fine. But if you're trying to increase the deadlift, I would stick with a Romanian or stiff leg. Which one? Find out which one works for you, keeps you most healthy, and also feels more burn in your hamstring and glutes. I tend to rest the bar back on the ground, which I guess some would call a stiff leg. I've noticed that the power building program doesn't have much side delt, calf, and bicep work. I believe he's talking about the Kizen power building program. It has a decent amount of bicep work, to be honest. Side delt, it has a pretty good amount of shoulder work with all the overhead pressing, a couple lateral movements, as well as bench press. Calves are, I guess, something we did not enter. Training your calves can work, it can help. It's last on priority lists for many, both aesthetically and athletically. So if you want to add them in, sure, go ahead. But no, we didn't add them, and that's it. How much attention should a person pay to pre, intra, post-workout nutrition, especially when you yourself listen to likes of Charles Poliquin, Mike Israetel, Lane Norton speak on the topic? So intra, post, all this stuff, timing of meals and nutrients does play a role in body composition and performance. But what most of these people would say, and what I've learned from most, not only learning and chatting with those people in person, but also working with clients and also experiencing on myself, is that you have to think big picture. If you're worried about, the exact degree of shin angle on your deadlift, but you can't even get in the gym 3 days a week to get your squats and deadlifts in, you're thinking about the wrong issues. So we have to first worry about kind of our overall calories and just being consistent with our food. Next, you have to worry about the breakdown of carbs, proteins, and fats, our macronutrients. Then we have to probably worry about micronutrients so we stay healthy and functioning. Then we have to just think about being consistent in the gym and our nutrition. Then maybe we can start to dive into nutrient timing. And I do think planning some of your carbs around your workout is a great idea. Pre and intra, Carbs are fine. Is it that important post to slam carbs and protein? No. Can it help? Yes. So let's go big picture priority and work our way down. Once again, tracking your food is what I suggest to most that are taking their efforts seriously. I just think that you leave no stone unturned, and if you want to be exact with your analytics of your progress, you have to be exact in what you're putting in. You get what you put in. So what you put in will come out in results. So take the time, track your food, get your calories going, whatever direction you need. If you're in a bulk, you need a surplus of calories, a little bit more than your maintenance. If you're dieting, a little bit less than your maintenance. Get your protein right. Typically, I recommend about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, per pound of lean mass is what's been shown to be optimal. Eric Helms did a recent study. You can look more nerdy stuff into that. And that's all good, and that's all gravy. But again, getting your carbs around a workout is fine, but it won't make the biggest difference if you're binging on pizza and beer every weekend. Don't expect timing your carbs or having BCAAs in a workout to make the advancements that you want to make. Priority in everything. Same with training. If you're not training consistently, if you're not training hard, if you don't have a program, if you're not figuring shit out, it just won't happen. Are you planning on releasing a powerlifting peaking program on Kizen? So for those that don't know, hopefully you do know, Kizen, we're planning on releasing programs for everything. If we don't have the expertise in the area, we're going to seek out the best experts in the world, and we're going to collaborate on programs. So we're going to have a website by 2020 or further of every single program, of every single goal you'll ever want. We want to make it a one-stop shop to help you guys towards any goal, and you can just rotate around and reach your goals through our knowledge and experience and through other knowledge and experiences within our network. So peaking for powerlifting is something I'm very comfortable with coaching, and yes, there will be a peaking program very, very soon. Do you think a lot of people do too much volume in the programs and end up being counterintuitive? I don't think people end up being counterintuitive by doing too much, but what I do think is if you're doing 10 sets of 10 and you're a beginner and you can get the same results by doing 1 set of 10, you're better off doing that 1 set of 10, because then when you plateau, you can add to 2 sets of 10 and etc. But if you start with the ceiling so high, the stimulus so high, even though you're making progress, which you may get injured and you may overtrain, but then you have nowhere to go. So leave yourself room to grow. Get the most out of the least amount of effort. So not being lazy, it's not taking the easy way, it's just about being smart. What's the best getting body fat percentage down while gaining weight? So that's very difficult. That's very difficult. So typically I would tell most to plan out what you're going to do. So first I would bulk, I would gain some mass, do it slowly, do it efficiently, and then I would cut, and then I would drop that fat. Doing both at the same time is possible for some beginners, and even some intermediate. If you're eating at calorie maintenance and training enough, you can kind of do that, but I recommend breaking up your goals. What are the repercussions of training legs at all, or not training legs at all, excuse me? One, you guys can refer to Omar Isuf. He's never trained calves in his whole life. But I don't know if this is trolling or if this is serious, but the only repercussion is small legs and a big upper body. But if that's what you're into, if you don't want to be an athlete, if you don't want to be more powerful, run faster, jump higher, and you don't want to fill out your shorts or pants, then by all means, train your upper body. Best way to incorporate both sumo, stronger stance, and conventional, favorite stance pulls in your training. That's actually pretty rare that your stronger stance is not your favorite stance. What I would recommend is blocking them out, or you could do one or both of them once a week. So you have a lighter one and a heavier one. But typically I train my weaker one or my non-competition stance far away from a meet, and then 12-16 weeks into competition or peaking into one, I'll train my competition stance, which is typically my stronger one. How to determine sets and reps for assistance exercises. Typically, assistance exercises, the majority of the time, are going to be for muscle balance and hypertrophy. So, sets of 8 to 12, maybe even 15, depending on the exercise. If it's something like a face pull, maybe even 20s. Figure it out. Not a big deal. 3 sets of 10 and then just progress in weight. Do 3 sets of 10 for 4 weeks, and then 4 sets of 10 at the same weight. Something of that nature. Progressive overload kind of rules all. We've talked about a lot of programming lately, so we're going to try to avoid some of that. What do you do for motivation during your cut? How do you stay motivated for the long run? What motivates you? All these freaking motivation questions. If you are in the stance in your life or your goals in fitness that you have to get motivation from an Instagram post or an internet, you are in the wrong mindset to begin with. I think that you always have to focus on what matters to you most. Prioritize your life, just like we just talked about prioritizing your nutrition. If you want to get better at something, if you truly want to improve, if you truly want to get stronger, get leaner, get stronger, get faster, you want to hit a PR, you want to be healthier for your kids or your life, have a better lifestyle, then there's nothing in this world that's going to motivate you better than you. Again, going back to my last video about choices, you have all the choices and have all the power in your life to do whatever the hell you want to do. And that's not motivational mumbo gumbo. That's just a matter of the fucking fact. If you want to get better at something, you just put in the work day in and day out. You have that goal in your mind. You physically write it down. You physically think it, and then you do it and you bring it into fruition. It's as simple as that. Nothing motivates me outside the fact that I want my goals and I'm going to go get them. I don't wake up drinking egg yolks and going for a jog with my Mastiff and all of a sudden awesome music with a trumpet and French horn come on, getting me stoked for my fight 8 weeks away. I just wake up like every other human being. I brush my teeth, I drink coffee, I take a poop, and then I get on with my day, hitting the things I need to do in that day to reach me towards my goals, both personal, business, and lifting. And that's just how it goes. That's how life works. The people that tend to put in the work longer, even small work over a long period of time, tend to reach those goals more than those people that try to dream big, chase it down for a day, and then forget about it. Small work over a long period of time will get you where you need to go. And if you need to be motivated, figure out what motivates you, because what motivates me has nothing to do with you. So find out what motivates you and then do that on the regular. If that does come down to watching a YouTube video or watching your favorite bodybuilder on Instagram or listening to music or thinking about your loved ones in your life that you need to be healthy for, whatever motivates you, then you need to put that in your forefront and make that part of your routine daily to get the shit done that you need to get done. And end rant. Thoughts on crash diets? I think they're stupid. I don't even know why that's even a question. They're obviously called crash diets, and they have a bad rap because they're not sustainable. They're not necessarily healthy, and you're going to end up losing some muscle and plenty of strength while doing that. Lower back cramp during my bench press. Also get a lot of fatigue from squats. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, maybe you have a bad low back. Maybe you have a poor technique issue. Maybe you have a hydration issue, or maybe it's just a general programming issue. It is hard to say. Keeping your back flat in the deadlift and squat tend to make you use the correct muscles. Taking the load off your back, your erectors, your low back are stabilizers in those movements, not main movers. So a lot of people turn them into main movers and then they get fatigued too quickly. Another thing is just too much volume too soon, which would be poor programming. Another thing is just not enough hydration, and that's often what causes cramps. So sodium and hydration. Does pineapple belong on pizza? No freaking way. You can throw some pepperoni on that. You might even be able to throw some vegetables on that. Maybe even a chicken barbecue here and there. But do not throw any fruit on my freaking pizza. What has been my biggest problem food when it comes to dieting? I do love tons of junk food, but with a flexible approach, I'm allowed to have, and I find out ways to sneak in some frozen yogurt or something of that nature here and there to keep me in check. But I don't necessarily have a problem food, but just eating out in general is a little more difficult to track often when I'm trying to have somewhat of a social life, so that can cause issues here and there. But overall, my diet has been really locked in as of late, and things are going quite well. What's a good way to incorporate a box jumps into a round of high intensity cardio, or basically any exercise that spice it up a bit? Now, spicing up your cardio and just throwing in box jumps just for the shit of throwing in box jumps are a way different story. You need to choose movements if you're doing intense cardio. High intensity interval training basically just means you're going to do a spurt of 10, 15, 20, maybe even 30 seconds all out, and then recover. Typically full recovery, but as you get more in shape, you can push it to maybe a minute and a half, something of that nature. You know, anywhere from 5 to maybe even 12 rounds, depending on the shape, depending on the exercises, is an awesome way to do cardio. Great way to get in shape. But I don't typically recommend going into any type of plyometric movement, any type of barbell movement, anything that is not necessarily high impact, but high danger or high technical difficulty. So, something like a hill sprint, something like a battle rope, something like a med ball slam, something like just a general sprint, anything of that nature is awesome because it's hard to mess up. And under fatigue, doing something super technical, you will mess up. And under load or anything technical, if you mess up under fatigue, injury comes high, and also just shitty motor patterns. Shitty motor patterns lead to repetition injury or just bad habits. So if you're doing squats, sprints, I don't think that's a great idea because then your squat is going to turn into shit rather than squatting for strength, squatting for hypertrophy. Taking rest and doing it fully rested allows you to train that movement as though you are a professional and getting better at it technique wise. So stick to sprints, med ball tosses, something pretty basic that you can't mess up. Box jump, you can obviously mess up the mechanics of jumping, you can bang your shins, etc. Leave that stuff to more higher sets, lower reps with full recovery to actually improve your motor patterns, your mechanics, and your athleticism. Tips for keeping my hips from shooting up and reducing pain in the hip flexor for a conventional deadlift. If your hips are shooting up on the deadlift, either style, sumo or conventional, it's a combination of things, but one, you may be yanking on the bar. Two, your body weight may be too in front of the bar, your momentum going forward, which also means that there's not enough tension in your hamstrings. Pulling the slack out of the bar is a common term if you want to check out videos or demonstrations on how to do that. But you need to get tension into the bar through your arms, tighten up that back, and tension into your hamstrings and glutes. And then think about accelerating the bar, not jerking on it. Going 0 to 100 real quick under a heavy load, your hips will shoot up. Now, that being said, some people also try to get their hips too low at the starting position and they try to squat the weight up. You need to deadlift the weight up. You need to hip hinge the weight up. So your hips will naturally raise until the proper optimal point to pull where you can find tension in those hamstrings. So get your weight back behind the bar, hamstrings, glutes, back, arms, all tension in the bar, and accelerate the bar through. During a deadlift, while putting the bar down, it hits my knees. Is this normal or bad form? Kind of a good question, kind of a weird question. Decent question because not a lot of people talk about putting the bar down on a deadlift. I would say that, yes, I don't know if it's bad form per se. You want to control the bar down. You don't just want to slam it. I am a fan of even a controlled eccentric if you're using submaximal loads, and it shouldn't be hitting your knees necessarily. You want to hip hinge. On a conventional deadlift, shins tend to be more vertical than not. Definitely more vertical than a squat. So try to hip hinge back, then bend the knees, dropping the weights, keeping it close to your body. It shouldn't be any pain or jacking you up. Tons of questions on the ketogenic diet. We'll start to talk about that a little bit, and then we'll move on. A lot of people asked what I think about it. What do I think about it for athletes? What do I think about it for gains? What do I think about it myself? Have I ever done it? I have done a ketogenic style diet. More low carb, I guess, than ketogenic, but I have gone into ketosis. I did this 4, 5, 6 years ago for a while. And I think, the truth is it is a trend. I don't think there's anything miraculous about it. I think there are some benefits depending on your condition and depending on the person. There can be some health benefits from eliminating some foods, obviously gluten and other things being some of it. Eliminating carbs also for many can eliminate kind of trigger foods or foods that are easily overconsumed. Because you're removing carbs, you remove a lot of processed food, which for many can make them lose weight. But there's no miraculous things going on with the fats, in my opinion, or what I've heard or what I've said or what I've researched or what I've experienced as a coach and an athlete. You're just eliminating a food group, eliminating calories, eliminating easily eaten calories. So it can work for many. I found my energy was very low. I would only get through about half of my workout, then I'd start to gas out. I think that many people need to just understand moderation. I think many people need to build up good habits of eating fruits, vegetables, lean meats, etc. Exercising more, understanding how to fuel your body rather than overconsume, because on a ketogenic diet, although I guess you technically could do it the rest of your life, I think it's very unlikely. to stay compliant for that for a very long term. And when we're talking longevity, we're talking about health, we're talking about being fit for life. We're not talking about being fit for 3 weeks, 3 months, etc. So I recommend building other habits, although it does work for some, and it does, I think, have some applications, as many people are beginning to study at the university level that it may help, even dementia and some other things. So I'm interested to see where that kind of goes. But for many athletes, I think carbohydrates are a great energy source, and I do think they can really help them gain muscle, lean mass, and perform at a higher level. Who you got winning the playoffs, my friend? I got the Cavaliers beating the Warriors in 5 games. You heard it here first. Cavaliers over the Warriors, 5 games. Game 5. People often say if it's not broken, don't try to fix it. Others say that there's always room to improve. Which of these would you say agree more is a purely situational? Yeah, I definitely say it's situational, but I would say that there's always room to improve. That doesn't mean revamp everything, but that does mean not only, in terms of lifting, I think is where he's going. You should always try to improve your technique, always try to improve your nutrition, always try to improve your timing, always while you're getting stronger. If you're just focusing on getting stronger, you can build bad habits and technique, etc. Why can't Kevin Hart dance as good as you? Man, I see that little guy trying. I feel bad for him. He's trying to bench press. He's trying to be a weightlifter. He's trying to be a power lifter. Maybe one day we'll get a session in together. We'll see. Maybe if enough of you guys tag him, we'll see what the heck is going on. Tips for growing a luscious beard. Number 1 tip for growing a luscious beard is to not shave. My friends, do not shave if you want to grow a beard. Have you ever used an ammonia inhalant? I see big powerlifters rip some heavy weights off the ground when they use them. For those that don't know, it is semi-common practice in weightlifting and powerlifting to snort, for lack of a better term, ammonia before going for a PR, a big lift, or a big set. Ammonia is just smelling salts. You'll see them in cartoons where someone's knocked out and they'll put it in front of their nose and they wake up. Does this help you lift big weights? I would say no. The same thing that pre-workout does not help you lift big weights. Can it get you mentally in the zone? Can it give you a slight kick in the pants? Yes, and that's why a lot of people do it. It kind of just smells like very, very, very intense icy hot, so it kind of wakes you up. It kind of startles you. So if you're already getting amped up on caffeine or adrenaline, music, whatever, and you sniff that ammonia, it may push you over the edge just to get a little more fired up. But no, I don't necessarily recommend it. I haven't done it in years. I just don't think it's necessary per se. Maybe I'll do it on a big deadlift at a meet, but that's about it. Save that in reserve. Appreciate you guys. Be sure to like this. Hopefully you guys like this style of video. I get a lot said. I get to show you guys some of my training. We get 2 birds, 1 stone. Like this bitch, share this bitch. Appreciate it.